or Caviar with new welfare rule that has freeloaders terrified. Freedom Daily has an important story today about welfare reform and a new decision by President Trump that's going to make Nancy Pelosi choke on her caviar. As we all know, many Americans voted for Trump because he's a business master who knows how to make a deal and win. For too long Washington, D.C., has been run by corrupt Democrats like Pelosi. Now that Trump's in town, it's a new ball game, and he came to hit a lot of home runs. Now he just hit a home run on welfare reform that's going to have Dems and liberals whining for days. After all, the left wing needs to have endless handouts so they can keep America's poor and struggling people dependent. The goal of the Democrats is to keep you in poverty and blaming others. Now Trump is going to take a step that frees people to achieve their full potential. Advertisement. Trump is currently considering an executive order to review low-income assistance programs. It comes ahead of a plan to make massive changes to the welfare system. The EO will ask all agencies to look at existing rules and come up with new ones, especially giving stricter work requirements so welfare recipients are encouraged to get back to work and not just sink into inaction. If you're on food stamps and able-bodied, we need you to go to work, explained White House Office of Management and Budget Director Mick Mulvaney earlier this year about the changes that are coming. Almost 68 million Americans get some form of government assistance. Welfare is taking up a huge amount of the federal budget, so it's important for tax reform and getting rid of Obamacare that welfare gets cut down. What do you think about this story? Are you glad Trump is going to put in stricter rules for getting welfare? Michael Moore demands Congress replace Second Amendment with new 28th Amendment. Michael Moore just won't go away. He is like gum on the bottom of a shoe. Michael Moore demands that Congress passes the 28th Amendment. What is this amendment? It would repeal and replace the Second Amendment, says Breitbart. He is just trying to start a war. Advertisement. In a lengthy Facebook message, Moore said the new amendment would guarantee, states can have state militias, aka state National Guards, which are made up of citizen soldiers who are called upon in times of natural disasters or other state emergencies. It would also allow individuals to use guns for sport and gathering food and guarantees everyone the right to be free of, and protected from, gun violence. That is, the public's safety comes ahead of an individual's right to own and fire a gun. According to Breitbart, Michael Moore demands more government control than ever, making Americans ultimately prime victims for tyranny and conquer. His words, a well-regulated state National Guard, being helpful to the safety and security of a state in times of need, along with the strictly regulated right of the people to keep and bear a limited number of non-automatic arms for sport and hunting, with respect to the primary right of all people to be free from gun violence. This shall not be infringed. The left-wing nut believes that the amendment would be implemented on automatic and semi-automatic guns. All guns aside from bolt-action sniper rifles are at least semi-automatic. Well, shotguns aren't semi-auto either. He wants smart guns too to stop guns from working for some reason. Advertisement. Considering the process for amending the Constitution, as explained in the National Archives, all Moore needs now is a 2/3 vote for his amendment in the House of Representatives and a 2/3 vote in the Senate. After that, he'd need to get 38 out of 50 states to support the repeal of the Second Amendment. What do you think of this sacrilegious piece of shit? Conservative editor Ben Shapiro absolutely destroys Jimmy Kimmel's gun control rant. Jimmy Kimmel is a liberal puppet that doesn't do anything in the interest of Americans, just in the interest of Soros. Conservative editor Ben Shapiro called him out on his monologue about the Las Vegas shooting. Kimmel did the typical fake crying and the attacking of the Second Amendment. Advertisement. Conservative editor Ben Shapiro destroyed Kimmel's inaccurate, whiny monologue on Monday night. During that monologue, He went after the GOP so they will attack the Second Amendment. He responded by trying to force action instead of praying and honoring the victims. Ben Shapiro is a typical destroyer of liberals, so seeing what he did to Kimmel is no surprise to those of us that follow Ben Shapiro on Twitter. You can follow him at Ben Shapiro. He is also the editor-in-chief of the Daily Wire who brought us this story, to begin with. Shapiro simply rolled the tape of Kimmel and paused intermittently to fiercely decimate Kimmel's rant. In the end, Shapiro returned to one of his key perspectives, that judgments based on feelings rather than facts and reason are a recipe for disaster. The video will be posted below because it is certainly one of the better videos you'll watch. Advertisement. Shapiro tends to bring facts and not rhetoric. While Shapiro was never a Trump supporter necessarily, he has been supporting the president like any good American because he too wants to make America great again. I'll give you a few tweets from Ben so you can see some of his opinions. What do you think about this? Just in: Paul Ryan betrays Second Amendment. Wisconsin needs to fire him now. The Conservative Tribune outed the fact that Paul Ryan betrays us again. Yes, again. He just can't stop serving the globalists. Paul Ryan betrays us on the regular basis, but he just betrayed the Second Amendment by dismissing a bill that would make it easier for legal gun owners to buy suppressors. He works for the left and the globalists. How much of a cuck is he? Advertisement. The bill is not scheduled right now. I don't know when it will be scheduled, Ryan announced Tuesday, making it clear the bill has been shelved indefinitely, as reported by the Chicago Tribune. Ryan gave this statement only 2 days after a psychopath shot up a country concert in Las Vegas from across the street. There are still a lot of questions about this attack. His comments came just a day after one of his Democratic masters, Hillary Clinton, said she didn't want to politicize the tragedy and then proceeded to politicize the deaths of a lot of people. Honestly, Sportsmen's Heritage and Recreational Enhancement Act was never scheduled for a vote this week, as noted by Katie Pavley of Town Hall. The issue is because of Ryan's clear signal that he doesn't plan on trying to put the bill up for a vote, especially not anytime soon. He serves his liberal overlords far too often. When 2 mass shootings force you to delay a bill that would make those mass shootings harder to detect and stop, maybe that's a sign you ought to let go of the bill once and for all, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer reportedly said Tuesday following Ryan's surprise announcement. Advertisement. This is a man that was almost the vice president under another globalist named Mitt Romney. It's embarrassing that we almost elected that fool. What do you think of Ryan betraying all of us yet again? Juan Mayor wears her nasty insult to Trump in Univision interview with Jorge Ramos. Juan Mayor Carmen Yulín Cruz strikes again, according to Free Beacon. She made an appearance on the uber-liberal, Spanish-language media outlet, Univision. She was ready to levy her criticism of the federal government and more specifically President Donald Trump. Apparently, wearing a shirt with the word nasty emblazoned on her shirt was a vicious shot towards Trump. He called out the San Juan mayor for being nasty to him after she applauded himself and FEMA in their response to Hurricane Maria just over a week ago. When asked by host Jorge Ramos what the significance of her nasty shirt was, the mayor said it was a reference to Trump referring to her as a nasty mayor. The interview was posted Wednesday to Univision's Al Punto Twitter account. She went on to claim that Trump was the one who is nasty. When someone is bothered by someone claiming lack water for drinking, lack of medicine for the sick, and lack of food for the hungry, that person has problems too deep to be explained in an interview, Cruz said in Spanish. What is really nasty is that anyone would turn their back on the Puerto Rican people. Trump called her and her poor leadership in a tweet because of her hypocrisy. She is the only one of 78 mayors in Puerto Rico to criticize his response. She was also standing in front of the aide while she called out his lack of help and aid. Those attacks came after Cruz said, "Mr. Trump, I am begging you to take charge and save lives, if not, the world will see how we are treated not as second-class citizens but as animals that can be disposed of. Enough is enough." When Trump visited Puerto Rico, she told him, "Sir, it's all about saving lives. It's not about politics." Then she wore a shirt bearing the word Trump used to describe how Democrats told Cruz to treat him during an interview on Univision. Cruz appeared to be wearing the same shirt in an interview on MSNBC that aired Tuesday night, but it was covered by a windbreaker. What do you think about all of this stupidity from Cruz? San Juan mayor goes on TV, rips Trump again with ridiculous insult. The mayor of San Juan, Carmen Cruz, is an anti-Trump fanatic. Instead of focusing on helping devastated Puerto Rico, she focuses on running her mouth at POTUS. Recently she wrote a statement calming down a bit and saying she would meet Trump. Now, however, as New York Post reports, Cruz is back with more trash talk for the president. Following Trump's visit to the hurricane-devastated island, Cruz called him the miscommunicator-in-chief and said the following outrageous statement on CNN. Advertisement. "I would hope that the President of the United States stops spouting out comments that really hurt the people of Puerto Rico." Seriously? This is a woman who supports terrorists and is a partisan Democrat hack. She's the one hurting people and ruining the rescue effort with her nonsense. Rather than commander-in-chief, he sort of becomes miscommunicator-in-chief, Cruz said. Advertisement. "This is such garbage." President Trump and FLOTUS Melania both visited Puerto Rico today and met with rescue workers and survivors. The U.S. territory has suffered 16 confirmed fatalities so far and has almost no electricity as well as major issues with clean water. According to Cruz, her meeting with the president was productive, but she said he's a miscommunicator? How does that make sense? During his Tuesday meeting, Trump thanked Puerto Rico Governor Ricardo Rossello for not playing politics, obviously a shot at Cruz. "He was giving us the highest grades," Trump said of Rossello, adding that he appreciated that right from the start the governor was not playing politics. "I just want to tell you that right from the beginning this governor was not playing politics," Trump said. "He was giving us the highest grades. I think it's now acknowledged what a great job we've done," POTUS said. "And people are looking at that. In Texas and in Florida, we get an A+. I think we've done just as good in Puerto Rico, and it's actually a much tougher situation, whether it's her or anybody else. They're all starting to say it," Trump added. Eat that, liberal mayor. What do you think of her continued negativity and insults? Watch. Leading anti-Trump congressional Democrat has just been named Woman of the Year. Maxine Waters is one of the leaders as an anti-Trump congressional Democrat. She's about as wild as they come. She suffers from Trump derangement syndrome, as she is the most hateful anti-Trump congressional Democrat. Hate is spreading across the nation according to World Politicus, and the Democrats are constantly battling the Republicans tooth and nail on everything. This seems to be out of spite. Advertisement. President Trump is going to win in 2020, and a leading reason will be because of the vitriol he is receiving during these trying times for the U.S. Whether you believe the shooting in Vegas was real or not, the country is having a rough time. We are fighting against 8 years of red tape put up by the Obama administration. Maxine Waters helped put up all of that tape. I've long thought that there was a lot of smoke, even fire, and that everything that I have learned about this president, starting with the campaign itself, that people should have understood that there was something terribly wrong with him, Waters said. As a matter of fact, I have said over and over again, I think he's the most deplorable person I've ever met in my life, she added. Advertisement. Nothing like insulting the President of the United States for no reason at all. But what else should we be expecting from a degenerate like Waters? In fact, She has made it her sole mission to impeach Trump as soon as she can without citing any laws that he has broken as president. And it looks like those feelings have not changed. This award has no business being in her hands. If they were less worried about who attacks Trump the most and started looking at the important things, Waters would be nowhere near this award. What do you think of Maxine Waters being such a psychotic loser? Representative Steve Scalise breaks silence on Las Vegas shooting and Hillary will not be happy. Lol. Hillary Clinton thought she could count on one victim to take her side on the gun control debate, and Steve Scalise breaks his silence and breaks her narrative. Steve Scalise breaks his silence on the Las Vegas shooting because he is a victim of a shooting and he completely disagrees with the politicizing of the tragedy. Advertisement. In an interview with Fox News, he rebuked Democrats for using the shooting as an opportunity to promote gun control, according to Faith Family America. "We shouldn't first be thinking of promoting our political agenda," said Scalise, who returned to Congress last week but is still in physical therapy after the shooting. After the deadliest mass shooting in history happened on Sunday evening, Democrats across the board have been tweeting and begging for increased gun control because of the latest shooting. They want more gun control because the guns that were used are legal and shooting people is illegal, so obviously more laws will help. The count hadn't been tallied and the bodies hadn't cooled before Hillary Clinton and Elizabeth Warren decided to politicize the issue on Twitter to their nutjob followers. Imagine the deaths if the shooter had a silencer, which the NRA wants to make easier to get. Of course, the stellar Sarah Huckabee Sanders called the losers out for their political goals during the White House press briefing. You've got to recognize that when there's a tragedy like this, the first thing we should be thinking about is praying for the people who were injured and doing whatever we can to help them, to help law enforcement, added Scalise. Scalise, along with other Republicans, believes the call for legislative action is premature. They want the families and America to have a chance to grieve before jumping to political agenda. What do you think of Scalise disagreeing with the morons on the left?